Hello everyone. So this is Jane Lee, your professor of sociology 2099. So 299. So sorry. So now I am in South Korea. So sorry for the urgent notice. So I came to the South Korea for urgent academic travel. Arrived here on Sunday morning. So urgent. So now this week we will need to do partly the asynchronous format, but also maybe I will make up some part of the class next week and probably replace the course time as the instruction of your important steps of the final paper. So in this lecture video, I want to cover very important information for your extended proposal and other steps of the hypothesis testing in the later part of the semester, but also most ultimately your final paper. So let me show you. So throughout over 10 years of my teaching experience, so I taught diverse levels of the courses and a wide range of the courses. But my primary teaching experience is based on the research method because every semester or every year at least, I taught statistics or the research method course from open-ended university, the national level liberal arts school like here, Gettysburg College, the national top university in South Korea, and but also the flagship state university like the University of Maryland, College Park. And even the levels of the degree, such as the undergraduate students and the master's and the PhD students. On this topic, the level of measurement would be one of the single most important topics of the sociological, the statistics in sociology, because the level of measurement will determine the later part. I mean, central tendency, descriptive statistics, visualization, also the determination of the statistical method you are using. So as a last step, so I know many of you or some of you already fully understand that, but I know some of you or many of you still it's not very clear for you because this is not always very simple, but you need to consider very many aspects of those variables. So not the last time. If you ask me more, I will answer anytime you want. But as kind of the final wrap-up summarization, I want to cover a little bit more details of the level of measurement I could not cover during classes. So the data, you are familiar with that, right? So this is the raw data. So the column indicates the variable, the sex variable. The 1, 2, 3, 4 digit numbers in the row indicates the cases. So by these numbers, we cannot know anything. So we are going to the variable information, the label, the missing values, and the measurement label you should not trust. And you can see the male and female, these are the numbers, what we call attributes and the data values. So those numbers would not be very meaningful without the labels as you experience so far. So 1 indicates male and 2 indicates the female. So these are the data values or attributes in our data. So there are majorly 4 levels of the level of measurements, or also called as a measurement level of variables. So in classical approach, there are the four levels of the level of measurement. So first one, the lowest level and the simplest one is the nominal variable. As you might remember, the attributes and the labels and the groups are only categorizing, so making the groups or make the distinction of those groups. For example, nationality and the race. As you already know, there are no clear order. So if there is order, it is very disputable. And ordinal variable as well, attributes can be ordered, which means social class and the letter grade, and any other types of the ordinal variable, such as attending the religious service more frequently or less likely. So those types of the variables would be considered as ordinal variable. Interval variable means the distance is meaningful, which means the unit of measure is very clear and fixed and equal in everywhere throughout the variable. So like temperature, each degree on this, then the temperature is measured. The year of birth, you can know that your year of birth will be 2003, 2004, like that. The ratio variable is very sometimes. There is no clear distinction between interval and ratio variable because the 0 point, the true 0 point, which means nothing, that's very clear in social science, but sometimes this is not very clear. That was why I majorly divided as nominal variable without order, ordinal variable with order but categorical, without very clear indications of intervals, interval and ratio variables with the clear and fixed intervals or fixed units, and then we can apply arithmetic calculation because of the characteristic of those variables as metric variable or continuous variable. For example, the order of data values is undisputable. No, if it is disputable, this is categorical nominal variable. So for example, how about the dog and cat? The preference of the cat and dog will be just determined by your preference or your personal opinion and your experiences. So the cat and dog, these are just classifying the groups into 2 or 3 groups without any order. Undisputable on the order of data, yes, but without the fixed unit of measurement. Then there is ordinal variables such as bad, neutral, good, health condition in the subjective well-being and the subjective health condition. But we are not sure how much better in that kind of the question. And others, 0 means nothing, interval variable and the ratio variable, the Celsius, the degree, the Celsius or the Fahrenheit. For example, Celsius, the degree 0. Degree 0 means the point of the standard of the freezing the water, or the freezing temperature of the water. But it does not mean that there is no temperature, because there is absolute 0 as negative 273 and others. So the interval variable may not have very clear indication of 0. But as like other examples in the ratio variable, body length or number of children, if number of children is 0, it means you don't, or the respondent does not have any children or any child. So let's go to the example using the data in the General Social Survey 2018 using the SPSS program. The full question is, do you? So are you okay, or do you think it should be possible for a pregnant woman to obtain legal abortion if one wants for any reason? So as you know, the missing values are excluded, so that's why we are using the valid percent, and the answers are yes or no, which means there is no clear order. We are not sure which one is better or which one is more superior. So that's why this is nominal variable. So next one, ordinal variable. As I mentioned before, the subjective well-being of the health, the condition of health, excellent, good, fair, and poor. We can find a very clear order among those attributes or the data, the labels. But we are not sure whether excellent is 4 times better than poor, 2 times better than fair, or something. As it does not have fixed intervals, the arithmetic calculations are not available. How about the metric variable, what we call continuous variable? 0 means no school education or no public education. So we would say there is very clear 0, which maybe we would say the ratio variable. 0 through 20, and we can apply arithmetic calculation such as multiplication and others. So the level of measurement is very important. So as I showed you in early part of semester, it can determine the choice of the statistical methods, the operations and the descriptive statistics, the central tendency, statistical method you are using in your final paper. So if you are using nominal or ordinal categorical variable as your outcome variable, dependent variable, your choices will be the cross tabulation and the chi-square in the level of a class in this semester. But if your dependent variable is interval or ratio, the metric or the continuous variable, you can apply the correlation and the regression and ANOVA and the independent sample t-test like that. So that was why I highly encouraged you to create or use the metric variable as your dependent variable, because you will have more variety or the more flexibility of the choice of the dependent variables. So in your extended proposal, honestly, it's totally fine to choose the categorical variable as your dependent variable. But if possible, if there is any possibility, please make sure to check the availability of the metric variable as your dependent variable. My strong suggestion of that. So the differences of the levels of the measurement, it will determine the statistical method. So using the same topic, so examples from my ongoing research project of the suicide in South Korea, I will show you some example of the result. So same the situation, very similar social phenomena, so suicide. There are different types of the statistical methods I can apply based on the level of measurement. For example, the categorical outcome variable, which is the binary variable coded as yes and no. There are only two categories, and we cannot find any order between having the suicidal ideation or not, because people can have the suicidal ideation, and we are not sure which one is better or ultimately better or something, whether it is very disputable. So I apply the logistic regression, which is out of our progress in the classroom and out of progress in this semester. But this is the I can make the visualization of the predicted probability of having suicidal ideation. So based on the age group and the gender, throughout the age groups, the males are more likely to have the higher probability of having suicidal ideation, but the gap is decreasing in older ages. And how about their physical and their health condition and their age group? So very commonly and very straightforward that the bad health condition is consistently associated with the higher level of the suicidal ideation, but the normal and good health condition, there were no clear pattern of the differences. And if the continuous variable, you will learn the multiple regression very soon after I come back. So this is the municipality level suicide rate, which is the very conventional type of the rate variable and the continuous variable, because 0 means there was no suicide in municipality, and 1 or 10 or those numbers indicates the number of suicides over 100,000. So based on the age group and their gender and the crude divorce rate in the county and the municipality, we can see that males are associated with higher suicide rate, and age as well. The older ages and the males, the higher crude divorce rate in the municipality, crude divorce rate. These are associated with the higher suicide rate in South Korea. So far, I added many examples. The level of measurement as nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio, but simply categorical variables and the metric variable for your dependent variable. So please make sure to understand this part, different levels of the measurement that will show different choices of the methods. Alright, so I always welcome your questions. So through email and any issues that you are having in your extended proposal or the extra credit assignment, please email me, because I will be available online and email in most of the time. Thank you very much, and see you in next video.